Front and Center. Front and Center. A focus on important and significant developments affecting the lives of Filipinos, not only in the Philippines, but also those living and working around the world. Join us in Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Good day, welcome to Front and Center, where we focus on developments in the Philippines, legislation that provides policies and directions that strives to promote a better economy for the country, issues that concern the welfare and well-being of every Filipino. All of these and more will be Front and Center. You can watch this program live on our Facebook page, that's Radyo Pilipinas World Service, and you can hear us live on our audio streaming at Evox PBS Receiver app. So join us for another edition of Front and Center with your host, Jerome Toledo.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Okay, the economic managers have revised the economic growth target for this year, 2025. That's according to Budget Secretary and Development Budget Coordination Committee Chair Amena Pangandaman. The economic growth assumption for 2025 was revised downward to 5.5% to 6 or 5.5 to 6.5% rather from the previous 6 to 8%. So in addition, the DPCC also revisited the medium-term macroeconomic assumptions to take into consideration recent global and domestic development. So to discuss more about this revision of our economic growth targets for this year, we now have on the line the Undersecretary of the Department of Economy, Planning and Development. That's Undersecretary Rosemary Edilion. Good morning, USEC. Thank you for joining us in the program. Jerome here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
Yes, good morning, Jerome, and good morning to all the viewers.
Okay, so from 6.8, from 6 to 8% rather, down to 5.5 to 6.5%. So we are expecting the growth for this year for from 6 to 8% now to 5.5 to 6.5%. So what does this mean for ordinary Filipino, or as we call it, Juan de la Cruz?
Yes, so actually we took note of the geopolitical uncertainties, and that we figured that it would probably affect the export sector in particular.
Mm-hmm.
And so we uh, we we decided that it's better that we take the conservative route and reduce the target to 5.5 to 6.5.
Mm-hmm.
So what this means is that we have actually this actually affects our proposed budget for next year, for 2026.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because the thing is, we want to have enough elbow room to be able
Mm-hmm.
to respond to any emergencies. Hopefully there will not be that many, but as it is, that's the stance that we took.
Okay, so yeah, we are optimistic that this year we're going to hit the 6 to 8% economic growth assumptions, or we call it the GDP. Is that correct, Undersecretary?
We have revised it downward to, between 5.5 to 6.5. Although we are still hopeful that we will get very close to 6%. So that's around the
Mm-hmm.
midpoint of the current growth target
Mm-hmm.
band, which is actually the lower end of the previous growth target band. So
Yeah.
we're not really giving up on the growth target. We remain optimistic, but with respect to
Mm-hmm.
how we crafted the budget, we actually, like I said, we chose to be more conservative,
Mm-hmm.
so that it's possible to, we will have enough resources to
Mm-hmm.
uh, to to respond to any emergencies if ever.
Yeah, and that's in response to the ongoing situation in the Middle East, particularly this between Israel and Iran conflict. So yeah,
That's
go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. And in also in response to the Trump tariff,
Yeah.
where we're not yet seeing any resolution,
Yeah.
any
It's
yeah,
still
you know,
ongoing,
we're
right?
not yet seeing what's the final decision of the U.S. and therefore we want to be prepared for for any eventuality. Of course, hoping that it will still be the best scenario that will come about.
And the dev will is hopeful that the tariff rate that will be imposed by the United States to us will remain at 10%. That's the basic tariff rate.
That's right. Of course, that's what we're hoping for, and that and if possible, if they can also, if we remain hopeful that we will continue with our economic cooperation, that's been going on for a long time now, and I don't think that's gonna end with this tariff issue. But with respect to the the official stance on the tariff, of course, we want as much as possible a lower tariff rate.
I see. And also, the inflation assumption was also revised from
That's right.
2 to 4%, or from 2 to 4% to 2 to 3%. So does this mean inflation will remain steady, Undersecretary?
That's right. Because it's now the kind of the midpoint of the year, so we already know what has been the year to date target. What has been the year to date inflation rate, and it's already within the the lower end of our band. And it was only it was only right that we reduce that target bandwidth. So from 2 to 4, we have now become more certain, so to speak, that it will settle in the range of 2 to 3%.
Oh, okay. To make it okay, so meaning to say, so we will have a long, steady growth, given that
Mm.
we have 5.5% to 6.5% growth, and then at the same time we
Mm.
have 2 to 3% now of the inflation rate.
Yeah. That's right. We will remain one of the fastest growing economies in ASEAN. So even with the downgrading, so to speak, of that growth target, but like I said, we are still hopeful that we will be hitting, around the midpoint of that growth target, and we're still we're working very hard that we will be insulated from these shocks, and yeah, so we're moving towards the growth target, but always remembering that we have to make sure that we have enough buffer stock for any of these eventualities.
Oh, okay. So what I observe here, Undersecretary, so from if, for example, if we hit 6.5%, so still we're still on that range. So
Mm.
uh, technically we're hitting our targets
Yes,
if
that's
that
right.
happens.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So and also on the other hand, the S&P hike its GDP
Mm.
forecast for the Philippines from
Yes. 0.9.
5.7% to 5.9%. So
Mm-hmm.
S&P is hopeful for our economy.
That's right. It's still within the range of our target growth possibilities, and we appreciate the vote of confidence from the S&P, and surely we will work towards that growth rate, if not even faster. And they're seeing that even though there's lots of geopolitical uncertainties, global uncertainties, even with respect to trade, we have a very strong domestic economy, and we need to continue working on strengthening the domestic demand, and that's why inflation rate is it's very important that we keep it low. We keep it also very stable, because with low interest rates, then sorry, low inflation rate, then you can also that gives more reason for the monetary authorities, the Banco Central,
Yeah.
to bring down interest rates, and that will even fuel our domestic
Yeah,
demand.
yeah, that's what I'm going to point about the recent rate cut from the Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas. So that will spur
Mhm.
economic growth. So, and there's a possibility that the BSP will implement another rate cut for this year. So that will ultimately boost our economy.
That's right. We're very hopeful, actually.
Oh, okay. Okay, so my last question. So now that these tensions happening across the globe, tariffs, conflicts between two or more nations, okay, and also the tension in the Middle East somehow subsided. So the peace plan is already in effect. So do we expect a normalcy in the economic sense for this year?
Uh, of course, that's always what we hope for, but we remain vigilant. Actually, we always, we are always on the lookout for this disturbances, physical, natural, even geopolitical, and come up with the analysis right away and the recommendations, so that our principals and the president are always in the know, and they can come up with evidence based policies. But just to say as well that in even in the 2025 budget, we have actually put in place some allocation
Mhm.
for responding to shocks like this. And it's just that we also want to make sure that because it's still the middle of the year, so we want to make
Mm-mm.
sure that we also spend prudently.
Okay, all right. Okay, just one point before I let you go, Yusek. So, State of the Nation address of President
Mhm.
Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. is coming up. So, that's in July. So, what are the programs of the DepDev Undersecretary that President Marcos Jr. May mention during his address to the people?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, we will be presenting to him before that, Sona, we will be presenting to him the state of the economy report, and
Mm-hmm.
then, the midterm update or stock taking of the Philippine Development Plan. And it's actually, we see that the strategies that we have outlined in the PDP remain relevant. If
Mm-hmm.
anything, we just need to accelerate the implementation, have more focus, and really leverage all those policy reforms, program reforms that we have laid out during this first half.
Mm-hmm.
So we will be enumerating, of course, all those things that have already been done, and of course, what is still the unfinished business. So hopefully. It gets its blessings, so that
Mm-hmm.
we will still
Right.
be working with Congress to
Mm-hmm.
complete this reform agenda, of course.
And yeah, since 20th Congress is about to
Mm,
open in July also, so
mhm.
more economic programs will be presented to the Congress.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
right.
Oh, by
Yeah.
the way, so what are the bills uh, or plans
Mm.
that may present to the Congress once it opens in July?
Yeah. Yeah. So we still need to have those policy reforms to ensure that we will have fiscal sustainability.
Mm-hmm.
So probably some fiscal measures as well, and fiscal and spending measures,
Mm-hmm.
and to make sure that there will be a fiscal. A lot of this actually are some of this, especially the spending measures.
Mm-hmm.
Public financial management reforms have already been initiated, but we think that in order to expect lasting results,
Mm-hmm.
then they will need legislation. Of course, there's also those reforms that we want in order to improve the governance structure with respect to resources. Let's say the Department of Water, because it's been in our priority,
Mm.
but we've run out of congressional time, and so we hope that in the coming Congress that will be taken up. Then, of course, the National Land Use Act. we're trying to see how we can we break down the problem with respect to land use allocation and be more strategic about it. So those are the top of mind, very very high priority bills that we will be recommending to the next Congress.
Okay, so there's two priority bills left before we can ultimately achieve economic growth. So given that the Create More Act has been implemented already, and also the Trabaho para sa Bayan Act has been implemented as well. So that's ultimately spur economic growth of our country.
That's right. That's right. We can focus on the implementation because the policy environment has been put in place. Of course, we also need to reform a number of our policies on the labor market. But that will again require some serious scrutiny study before we can come up with what should it really be? What should the reform look like?
All right. Very well said. Okay. And with that, thank you so much for joining us in the program, Undersecretary Rosemary Edilion of the Department of Economy rather, Planning and Developments. And thank you, Undersecretary, for joining us.
Yes, you're welcome as always. Thank you, Jerome.
Okay. All right. And Front and Center will be right back after these messages.
This is a public service announcement. Maging handa sa oras ng sakuna. Para sa iyo at sa iyong pamilya, laging siguruhin. Go Bag ay nakahanda at naglalaman ng mga sumusunod. Ilang pirasong damit, ready-to-eat na pagkain at inuming aabot ng 3 araw. Personal na gamit para sa inyong hygiene. First aid kit kabilang ang alcohol, bandages, gamot sa lagnat, ubo at sipon, pati na rin ang inyong vitamins at maintenance medicines. Maglagay ng pito, flashlight, lighter o posporo. Huwag kalimutan ang mga charger o power bank. At higit sa lahat, isama ang mga importanteng gamit gaya ng inyong mga legal na dokumento, IDs, ATM o passbook, insurance at iba pa. This is a public service announcement. Public service announcement from PBS, Presidential Broadcast Service, and Radyo Pilipinas.
Mahigpit na binantayan ni Pangulong Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. ang pagsusunog sa 1.3 million kilos na nakumpiskang illegal drugs sa Cleanleaf International Corporation, Capas, Tarlac.
Kailangan tiyakin natin na yung mga nahuhuling drugs ay talagang sinisira at wala nang pag-asa na bumalik pa, na maibenta pa. The chamber's temperature will be raised to 700 degrees Celsius, which is hot enough to destroy all of the active elements within the drug.
Ikinatuwa ng Pangulo ang pagkakataong masaksihan ng lahat ang prosesong isinasagawa ng PDEA para matiyak na hindi na magagamit ang mga nasabing droga.
I'm glad that the press is here para makita ninyo kung ano ba talaga ang sistema. I'm also happy that I was able to get the opportunity na makapunta rito para makita ko rin ang buong sistema from the capture all the way until it's destruction.
Para sa iba pang mga balita at impormasyon, manatiling nakatuto. Tapat sa pag-uulat. Radyo Pilipinas. Radyo Publiko 738.
Huy, nabiktima ka na ba ng fake news sa panahon ng digital media? Learn how to spot fake news. Check the source. Kung di legit, dapat magduda. Check the purpose. Informative or troll post at clickbait lang. Check the ownership. Mapagkakatiwalaan ba ang pinagkukuhanan nito? Check the time and date. Baka naman outdated na yung news na yan, ha? SPOT. Together, let's spot fake news. Tiyakin ang katotohanan, fake news ay labanan.
A friendly message from PCO, DepEd, CHED, DSWD, DILG, PBS at Radyo Pilipinas.
Mas pinadali na ang government transactions sa tulong ng eGov.ph Super App. Pwedeng-pwede mo nang magawa ang lahat ng ito. I-download ang eGov app sa iyong smartphone o tablet mula sa App Store o Google Play Store. Pagkatapos, ilagay ang iyong mobile number at i-authenticate gamit ang one-time PIN o OTP para marehistro ang iyong account. Saka ilagay ang iyong mga pangunahing impormasyon at kumpletuhin ang facial recognition technology para sa verifikasyon ng iyong pagkakakilanlan. Para sa mas mabilis at mas maayos na serbisyong panggobyerno, gamitin na ang eGov.ph Super App.
Front and Center. Front and Center. Here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service.
And before we go, so President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has just led the inauguration of the Veterans Access to Lifetime Optimized Healthcare Clinic or Valor Clinic that's in Fernando Air Base, that's in Lipa City, Batangas. And President Marcos Jr. was accompanied by the Department of National Defense Secretary Gilberto Teodoro Jr. And that healthcare facility is dedicated to our Filipino veterans. And with that, we conclude this edition of Front and Center here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Together with our production team and technical personnel, this is your host, Jerome Toledo. Until next time, mabuhay, love the Philippines.
You have just heard and watched Front and Center. Front and Center. Join us again for another edition here on Radyo Pilipinas World Service. Front and Center.